Hey guys, Ryan here, and today I'm going to bring you a replay in the FCM 50T on Winter, Cliff Winter Encounter Battle. Gonna be a bit of a later video in the afternoon this. I've said before, I usually like to record my videos in the morning, but sometimes you just have shit you need to do, so a bit of a later one. FCM 50T, I'm going to be platooned with Spandex and Luke, and this is a tank I consider one of the best tier 8 premiums in the entire game. And yet, I've not played it in like 4 months. This was my first game in it in a long time, and the reason I picked it in this game is simply because Luke and Spandex got their T-34-3 blacks for free from the black event for getting the free tank. And they both wanted to take them out, and because they're preferential, I thought I'll take the FCM 50T because it's preferential. And really, I should have played this tank a lot sooner. I've said before, I don't mind fighting tier 10s in this tank, it's that good. But because we are a preferential platoon, you'll actually see we're top tier, which is great. There are 2 artillery we need to be worried of because I'm a French tank. Although my side armor is pretty thick, French tanks are still French tanks. They don't take arty shells too well. Well, as you can see, I'm in the S50, which is a heavy tank, and I'm keeping up with all these medium tanks. I'm not going to go over all the stats of this tank. I've got loads of other FCM 50T videos to just explain the stats. And I hit that light tank on the move, he's climbing up the hill. The enemy are actually going to win the hill, as you can see. We basically have no one up there at the moment. Even close to climbing it, and the enemies are already on top of it, basically. I'm going to auto-lock the Becky Lynch, and I'm going to hit him on the move. Now, this is a heavy tank, but similar to the Patriot, it gets a low-caliber gun. It has a 90mm like the Patriot, a 240 Alpha like the Patriot. But it's more accurate than the Patriot, with the same or better aim time, and more damage per minute. This tank's actually joint most accurate heavy tank in the game, with Chieftain and Tiger 2 and everything. Obviously, being French, as you saw, to get into position, it's very fast. Has 8 degrees of gun depression, 400 meters view range, tier 8, which is amazing, especially at preferential. But what's the main reason I like this tank? Although its frontal armor and its turret armor is not very good, frontally, the side of the hull and the side of the turret is 80mm thick, meaning this thing, despite being French, can sideswipe everything in the game, even a Death Star, if it was firing AP. This thing can sideswipe it. So it's having the speed, the view range, the DPM, gun depression, having all that, but still having enough armor to bounce, basically. Because a lot of the time, to get the speed, you have to sacrifice the side armor. And I've put a couple shots into the Persian. You see him just facing backwards, getting shots in when I can. I'm going to drive forward there because I got spotted, so I'm assuming it came from up on top of the hill. Now, one of the enemy artillery is already dead. That's a good sign for me. However, as I go to come around this corner, I quickly decide that's not a good idea, because Artie might be over there. Enemy hauling him, going for a bit of a run. I do get one shot into him. As you can see, Alpha is crap, but the reload is very nice. You can't perma-track people with this. And it all depends. A lot of people don't like low alpha damage on heavy tanks. But if you don't mind low alpha, because I love the Patriot, I love the Carnarvon Action 10. If you don't mind the lower alpha, this tank is definitely up there as one of the best in the game, in my opinion. The fact it's preferential as well is ridiculous. And the CDC isn't. If anything, this should fight tier 10s, and the AMX CDC should be the one to get preferential matchmaking, in my opinion, because this thing's just so much better. And the only reason I bought this was because when I decided to do the Batchat 25T, I didn't have any French tanks at all for crew training. So I bought a low tier one because they make more XP bonus. I got the FCM pack TD thing, but then after playing like 5 games in it, I realised I don't like playing low tier gameplay, so I bought a tier 8, and this is the one I bought, and I only really bought it because DPM and view range. In my opinion, the most important thing for carrying a game in World of Tanks is mobility. So this was the obvious choice, because many people would have said to me about the HMH French Heavy, the Egalite, the one that has decent frontal armor. But that thing, although it's got decent frontal armor and more alpha damage, actually has worse side armor than this thing does. And worse view range, and it's slower, and it fights tier 10s. So, if any of you get the opportunity to buy this tank, I do actually highly recommend it, but it's not for newer players. If you like to have a bit of armor, this is not the one, because although it can side scrape, the frontal armor and the front of the turret is wank. Tier 6s will pen you through the front of your turret if they hit it flat on. But if you're an experienced player, I reckon they're who are going to be able to make the most use out of this vehicle. Got the tracking shot on the Super Purging, who then gets ammo racked. Jagdpanther's coming up. There's the VK around the corner. Trying to deal with the Jagdpanther, and now I have enough hit points to survive the shot from the VK if the Jagdpanther doesn't hit me. I got one more shot in, but he has a repair kit. So he gets one shot in, I pick up the kill, but the VK gets me. And then the VK gets wrecked straight afterwards. So, had I not taken that shot from the Jagdpanther, I would have survived this game, maybe been able to give it more damage out. I mean, it's other than that the artillery didn't help me out quite a bit there. And unfortunately, our artillery have a bit of an issue because they've got an enemy medium coming for them. And I'm going to let the rest of the game play out. Luke's still got most of his hit points. I feel pretty confident we can still win this game. Because similar number of tanks, and again, I trust Luke to be able to do this. At the same time, maybe I shouldn't trust the tank. From what I've heard, this thing has very derpy gun handling. So, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, the good news for us is, the enemy's in a bit of a shit position, because we've got two teammates capping, and Luke waiting at the bottom of the mountain in case he comes off. That T-34-100, by the way, is going to be one of the luckiest medium tanks I've ever seen. These two tanks on our team are going to really struggle to kill this guy. So I just wanted you to see what I'm seeing, because I was actually laughing quite hard at this. Now, I have no idea where the TD is on the enemy team. And I should have probably been helping Luke try and pinpoint where the enemies are. But sometimes you see something in World of Tanks that's too funny to not watch. Enemy light tank spot on the map. For the time being, I actually don't go over to look at Luke. But the enemy's disappeared behind the building, so I switch over. And the thing is, when you have a tank with high damage per minute, and good view range, even if you die relatively quick, you can usually get a good result before you die. Because it's kind of like what T95E6 reminds me of, that Tier 10 American premium medium tank. Even if you die pretty early, just cut the DPM on it, you can get a pretty decent result out. Because as you can see, I've done 3,500 damage, and I've got 2,000 assistance, and I think I've got a little bit of blind assistance as well. So, really, there's just been a video of me rambling on about the FCM 50T and how great it is, but it really is a spectacular tank. Highly underrated. I'm surprised you don't see more of them. And as I said, not just one of the best Tier 8 heavy tanks premium in the game, just one of the best premium tanks in the entire game. Also, 240 silver per shell on its shell cost, which is super cheap. So it makes lots of good silver, and it has decent pen on the standard run as well, so you don't fire too much gold. So it makes good silver as well. 91,800 profit, 3,700 damage, 3,000 assistance, 3 kills, high caliber. That was a ace tanker in this vehicle. And every time I ever play this tank, I just think to myself, why don't I play this tank more often? But I will free market eventually, trust me on that. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.